must hear our voices. The world must hear our songs. The world must hear the truth as we keep marching on. We never can rest silent beneath the rocket's roar. We must sing our songs of freedom for now and evermore.
Welcome to Voices of Change, a project of Community Shares. Our show seeks to inform you about the world of progressive social change. My name is Shelley Wascom, and I'm your host, and very happy to have today Elizabeth Wright with the Appalachian Transition Fellowship as our guest. Welcome, Elizabeth. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Shelley.
So, Appalachian Transition Fellowship, that's quite a mouthful. Can you tell us a little bit about what is that program?
Sure, and we call it App Fellows, so that helps a little bit. I may refer to it as that, but it's a program of the Highlander Research and Education Center, which is out of Newmarket, Tennessee. Highlander works throughout the South, and this project and program really came about as a big partnership out of Appalachia, from the Appalachian Funders Network, the Appalachian Community Foundation, and a lot of groups throughout the region who are working on developing a new economy that's more sustainable for our region. As coal and those kinds of industries are leaving, there's a lot of opportunity to change how we move forward economically and with social justice programming and organizations, and to take some of that work and infuse it into the work that's going on moving forward to develop our region in a different way. So it was a partnership that developed the fellowship program, but now it lives with Highlander Center. And so it's a year-long fellowship for up to 15 emerging leaders, young people or not so young people from throughout Appalachia who are really dedicated to the region, who've been doing some of this work in some way or another, and who are interested in living in a host community for a year somewhere in Appalachia, in central Appalachia, to work with people in cross-sector partnerships. It's a little complicated, but we have host communities and fellows. And so the host communities are made up of partnerships that cross sectors like business, education, health, nonprofit work, and even finance and funder work. And so we have in each host community, there's 3 different organizations who wouldn't typically work together, who are working now to build a collaborative and a new network. And they have a fellow that's placed with them to kind of, bolster up that work for a full year. They're paid fellowships. They're working on various areas like green energy, local food, cooperatives, things like that. And it's really to build more networks and connectivity throughout the region, and also to build up young leaders who'll want to stay in Appalachia and carry this work forward. So
starting at the beginning, the first thing that it takes then, I guess, is a community that says, we have an idea, right?
Yep.
And you have to have 3 groups, you're saying, at least.
2 to 3, yeah.
2 to 3 groups working together. So can you give me some examples of, are they all community groups, or you said like even finance or fundraising? What is the?
Yeah, we want them to be not people that would normally work together. So we do look for community groups to work with, for instance, local government. For one thing that we have going on in Virginia is a local hospital there is working with a food distributor and our fellow, and they're working to bring in local farmers to bring their produce into the hospital to improve the nutrition and the health of the food that's there, and to also cut down on that carbon footprint. So we're seeing changes there where local farmers are getting a boost because they have an expanded market. The hospital staff and employees and the people that are hospitalized are getting better food. The local economy is being boosted because it's all being contained there locally. And the fellows getting a lot of great experience in helping forge those partnerships and do a lot of research so that they can use that information and create a model that can be used throughout Appalachia.
Sure. So, and then you're saying you're trying to place the fellow somewhere. I mean, so this is a person who has experience of some kind of experience. But they're in a new community and they're doing maybe stuff they have never done before. So who is helping the person? I mean, you're saying some experience. I mean, if you're just dropped into this community and you don't really know what to do, is it like in this case with the hospital and be working with the person, or is it something y'all offer?
Yeah, it's a well-rounded support system, I think, for both the host communities and the fellows. The fellows, they don't have to have a college degree or anything like that, but we do ask that people have some work that's been done in some of this stuff throughout Appalachia. The application process, which is currently open for both hosts and fellows for the next cycle, matches the fellows and hosts with their interest and their goals. So we do try to match people, and the hosts have a say in that, and the fellows do as well. So it's kind of a multiple level process to place the fellow with the host community so that it'll work well for everyone. Then once they're placed in the community, that fellowship starts out with an orientation tour throughout Appalachia for 2 weeks, where we visit each host community. We get a sense of the local culture, we get a sense of the work that's been going on there and where there are gaps and opportunities, and it's really an in-depth start to the program. Then once they're placed in the host community, they have one person there who's there to check in with them, on a regular basis. The Highlander Center staff also checks in with the fellows on a regular basis by phone each week. They meet monthly all together to share their learnings. We have a blog where they share all the work that they've been doing on the App Fellows website. And then we have regional gatherings quarterly where people who aren't part of the fellowship or the host community process can come and share what they're doing. And that's, again, to help build that connectivity. So it's a lot of support.
You may have said this already, but where are they located? I mean, no, not where, sorry. How long are they there?
It's a year.
One whole year.
And it's a paid fellowship. We do ask that host communities contribute up to half of the stipend. It's a $24,000 paid fellowship with health, reimbursement. So it's a lot of good experience. You get paid to do it, and you just make so many new connections and experiences. It's good for everybody.
Are they on their own for like housing and all of that? You're getting paid, so you have to figure out where you're going to live and.
Right. We offer some support with that because we do have relationships in all of the communities, and the host communities have sometimes helped with housing. But for the most part, the fellow would be, responsible for that. And you can be placed in the host community where you live. It just depends on, if there's a good project there that's a good fit.
Right.
You don't have to transplant.
Sure. But that is I think it's an interesting thing both for the person. I mean, it could be a little lonely, but for 1 year, knowing that it's only for a year and that you're going to gain a lot of really great experience is something maybe you're interested in but don't have a lot of experience. And there's something freeing also about it not being in your home, I think, and that it's also like it's a learning experience, and then you can move on, with what you've learned, because maybe that you've learned and you want to just take that. I mean, you don't have to sort of live with any of your mistakes or whatever forever. But
and the hope is that they'll bring back what they learn and do in that host community if they're outside of their home, bring it back home and do the similar kind of work here. And that's again about building those networks and strengthening up Appalachia. That you bring that knowledge back. And what we found is that the fellows themselves, they have all been placed in new communities, and so they're learning about this new place, but they've built their own community. The 15 fellows we have this year are a strong knit group of young people, and like I said, there's a lot of built-in support for them to check in regularly. So they've developed their own community, and I'm just excited to see what they do after the fellowship ends.
Well, and I also think that for the example you gave us, that is something that could be replicated in every community. I mean, that's an issue. Healthy food in a hospital. I mean, it's often just true that it's not that it's unhealthy, but there aren't really fresh vegetables and choices like that. And the idea that you could be helping both local farmers and at a place like a hospital where you really need that. Right. I mean, I think that's a great program, and if it works in a hospital, it can be taken to schools and things like that.
Exactly. That's one of the main focuses of the fellowship, is that the work is replicable. So we do want each project to be something that we can recreate in other places throughout Appalachia, and that's just one of 15 different projects that the program's doing.
So tell me again, and where are all the fellows? I mean, you don't have to give me every place, but what states?
We have West Virginia, Ohio, Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Tennessee.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then in the Appalachian parts of those areas.
Central Appalachian region.
And how many fellows are there?
We had 15 this year.
15. And you have room for 15 again?
Right, yeah, and the application period is open right now. The website is appfellows.org, appfellows.org.
And it's on the screen.
Yeah, and so we're still accepting applications for fellows for this year. That deadline is April 15th. Or 10th, April 10th. And then the deadline period for host communities, there's an initial phase, and that is March 15th is the deadline for that.
And then, so when you get the host communities, is somebody from Highlander Center or from the program goes out and interviews people in those communities. So you have more communities probably than you can end up taking, or?
Generally, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's great, though. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's great that they have this many projects. Can you give an example? What's some other projects?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a fellow in North Carolina working with Opportunity Threads, which is a worker-owned cooperative there that's really kind of transforming the textile industry. She's been able to do a lot of work on their media and communication strategies about changing the face of the textile industry, and also about letting people know how worker-owned cooperatives can function, and that there is a different model that you can use to run a business that is successful. We also have a fellow who's working on, we have two fellows actually working on abandoned mine land funds, which are lands that have been abandoned mine lands, and you can reclaim those lands to reuse for more sustainable purposes. So they've done a lot of policy work. And we have others who are working with community gardens and local farmers markets. There's a lot of green energy work here in Knoxville. We have UT's Green Initiative doing a green energy forum and doing a lot of research around green energy opportunities for the region. So there's a lot of exciting things to move Appalachia forward and do something different, and these fellows, I think, are a big part of that.
In the Knoxville one, what are the groups that are working together? It sounds like it's the university.
It was the University of Tennessee's Green Initiative, and it started out with SEED, and that partnership shifted a little bit, so it looks a little different now. But that was around bringing energy efficiency as part of those green energy initiatives.
Sure. Well, and that's an interesting thing to bring up, because I was thinking about that, thinking, in a year, things can change.
They do.
Priorities, organizations' priorities, funding, all of that. And so, but that's a good thing for a person to learn as well.
Absolutely. It's a new initiative. It's a really exciting, different way of doing this work in Appalachia. So this is our first year of doing it. We've learned a lot, and we'll definitely incorporate some of those lessons in the next cycle. But yeah, things definitely do change. Fellows and hosts relationships ebb and flow, but everybody's learning, and everybody's doing really amazing work. We have a closing gathering that's going to be in this area May 18th through 20th, where each fellow will be doing a kind of TED Talk, and that'll be a great opportunity for people to join us and learn about the program and see where we've been and where we're going.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I also was just thinking that the fact that they get to go see all of the communities and learn about what everybody else is doing, I just know from my own graduate school that when you hear about other people's internships or whatever, it does, even if it's not the same thing you're doing, you can learn from that and take and glean little bits of it and take it back. Plus you get to learn about all those communities.
Yeah.
So.
And there's some cool communities out there. We were in Benham, Kentucky for an energy regional gathering in December, and I'd never been there before, but that's an amazing community that's really changed a lot since the coal industry left, and now they're really picking up with green energy initiatives, and it's a very small town in the mountains, but being there was an experience for me. So that's just one of the many neat places that you get to go in the fellowship program.
Well, and do you know, like in that community, where is the fellow from? Do you know?
The fellow's from Knoxville, actually. His name is Joshua Utsi, and he used to work with SEED.
I know him.
And he's up there in Benham now, and he's been doing great work with them.
Community Shares actually gave him an award a few years ago.
Well deserved.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's why I was wondering, because that's and that is a different. That'll be a different experience, a different community. But he does have some experience in that area. So, this sounds like a great program. I'm sorry, I wish I could have done it. I mean, I actually have a job now, but
we all want to be a fellow, for sure. Everybody who hears about it wants to.
And I hope we'll say again, it's appfellows.org.
That's
you
right.
probably could also find it by going to the Highlander Center.
Yeah, you can. HighlanderCenter.org, appfellows.org, and the application forms are up there, the deadlines are up there, information about all our upcoming events are there, and you can also get in touch with me. My contact information is on that website as well, and I'm glad to answer any questions.
And so if you are part of a group in the community where you think you could use a fellow, I mean, that's one place to start. Or if you're a person who thinks you might be interested in the program or know somebody who might be interested, I would say encourage more people. I mean, if it's not a good fit, they'll find that out later.
Yeah.
But, go ahead and explore it.
Absolutely. It's a great opportunity, I think.
Well, thank you so much for coming and telling us about it. I really appreciate it. I think we might try to have somebody else on to talk a little more, another show.
That'd be great.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
And the world must hear our voices. The world must hear our songs. The world must hear the truth as we keep marching on. We never can rest silent beneath the rocket's roar. We must sing our songs of freedom.